So I decided to move to my page. I want to try. Mr. Babatunde, please let me see. Decided to move to my page. This is going to work. Let me see. Mr. Babatunde, can you see any invites? Hi, Chidi. How are you doing? Mr. Babatunde, can you see any invites? So that I'll know maybe it's the Fresh Look Africa's page that is having issues. Thank you, Chidi. Thank you. Chidi, can I do something with you? Are you in a space where you can pick, where you can have a video call? You can put your video off. I need to check something quickly. Okay, Mr. Babatunde. Mr. Babatunde, are you back? Let me see. Let me invite Tolu as well. I think it's the Instagram page that is having issues. I think it's the Instagram page that is having issues. Have you seen the invites? Yeah, our Instagram page is having issues. Yes. So let's stay here. Please, let's tell everyone that we are here now. Our Instagram page is having issues with live. Okay. Thank you, Tolu. Thank you, Tolu. All right. Tolu, don't worry, you can go now. Thank you. All right. So please tell everyone that we moved from the Fresh Look Africa's page to my page because apparently there's something wrong with our Instagram page because I don't know if we want to go live with someone else, it takes us off. So and we don't have time for that right now. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Please invite everyone. I'm so sorry that we have to move. I'm so sorry that we have to move. This is not what I bargained for. By now, we should have been neck deep into this class, but here we are. Okay, my sis is here. Hi sis, welcome. Hi, I'm Toby, welcome. I know some people have gone, some people just branch Instagram lives and just bounce like, I'm out. I'm not here for lives on a Sunday. Hi, Oluwatobi. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for staying with us. Instagram doesn't want us to have the live, but we are going to have this live. Please send to everyone that you know. I think I even have a wider coverage using my personal page, actually, but it doesn't matter. So I'm sending to everyone that is in my DMs. Yes, so. Hi, Mr. Akin. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back, guys. So we're going to dive in. Ooh, I'm now nervous to invite, but it worked. So I'd already tested run already, so it worked. So she's gonna come up in a bit. She's gonna be here in a bit. I see. Oh my God! Instagram did not want us to have this live, but they will be liar. I'm gonna have it.
Yeah.
It's great to see you. You're looking beautiful.
Oh, as you are. Is my voice good, volume-wise?
Yeah, it's good. It's good for now. And it will continue to be good.
And all right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hi, Adora. It's great to see you.
Yeah, same here, sis.
Yeah.
All right. Please let's Cool. Sorry, let me do introduction. I'm not saying your bio again because I've announced your bio everywhere already. So please let's welcome the founder of ITeach Network, Miss Adebisi Olaniyi. Please let's welcome her. I want to see your clapping and roll a red carpet for her. She deserves it. Thank you
Wow.
so much for doing this with us.
Oh,
This is the Fresh Look Africa, but I'm also the face, so we are one. So I hand over to you. Please take us on and let us, drink from your cup.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really great to be here. Hi, everyone. Amazing to see you all. Uh, sorry about the um, I don't even know what to call it. Technical issues, right? So,
Right.
well, great to have you all here. So, I don't need to introduce myself again. So, because we're already pressed for time, so I'm just going to thank you so much. I appreciate. I'm just going to dive right in, and I know that we were supposed to have about 45 minutes for this discussion, if I'm right. So I'd really try my best to stick to time, and hope that we can all get the best, the very, very best of this, and praying that as teachers, the Lord helps us to make the difference that He's called us to, both
Yeah.
prophetically and personally. Right. So today I'm just going to be talking on the train model. The first class that I had on that model was hammered majorly on parents. Yeah, I mean
Mm,
the bit of the teacher part and all, but yeah, basically there's a lot. It's directed more to parents and anyone who is just handling a child. Do you understand, right? um but what I've just getting on the call, what I've decided to do is to ensure that this particular model as expressed in this Instagram live really touches down on teachers basically, and as to, because I mean I see that's what the Fresh Look Africa does, so it would be nice to just see how this can help teachers, right, as we carry on our duties. Okay, so what's the train model? I know that for a really long time, when we talk about teachers, the work that we do as teachers, and what is expected of us in general, it's almost like we we are not even we're not even sure, or we don't even understand what our role is in the lives of children and the society at large. So the we belittle the work that we're supposed to do and the progress that we're supposed to achieve. I mean, mainly because it almost feels like being a teacher is like the lowest you can go in the society. Unfortunately, it is something that continually confuses me, because if you look at the world, you would see the need for education. In fact, education beyond the books. So
mm,
from where I'm seated, I'm seeing the the illiteracy in the idea that being a teacher is anything less of
mm,
important calling. To even think that is to show how deeply education is needed in the society. All right. So in order to even go into this, it's first wise for every teacher to look at ourselves and think, what am I doing? Why am I a teacher? What do I hope to achieve?
mm,
why do I have children in my aunts in my class? It goes beyond planning lessons.
Mm. Okay, guys, she'll be back in a bit.
Can you hear me? Did you lose me for a bit?
Yes, we did.
Okay, okay. I apologize for that. So it goes beyond marking, grading, and all of that. But almost so what happens is a lot of teachers are frustrated by the amount of work they'd have to do rather than getting motivated by the end result of actually having children in their classrooms. So it's more of we've chosen the side of frustration rather than the side of motivation. So many teachers
Mm.
aren't even motivated to work or give the best that they ought to give. So sometimes teachers cannot even function their best without supervision.
Mm.
And that's a problem, especially because would need to trust a pattern and a system that leaves our children educated, supervised, not supervised, being looked at and not being looked at. That's what really shows that I have a heart for children. I want
Mm.
children to grow. I'm interested in the life of a child. I'm interested in the pattern that the life of a child is going. I'm actually interested in seeing education change from what it is now. You actually cannot be a teacher and be unbothered about the development of children.
Mm.
It's okay. I mean, most of the time, people branching into schools, education because I mean, there's no job. Uh,
Right.
or I need a job that gives me free time. Or I need a job where I can just close in early. I need a job where I'll still have time for my children. That's not enough motivation. And I think that's where the mediocrity for education comes. Because every
Mm.
sort of seem to believe that you have to you have to be almost idle and looking for something else to while away your time before you can become a teacher.
Mm.
That's a problem because ideally that's not even the case. Being a teacher has to do it has a lot to do with understanding the child, understanding why I am doing what it is that I am doing. There is no mediocrity in imparting knowledge, and the idea that there is an education that every man needs to have for a balanced growth is the
Mhm.
beginning of understanding why in the first place there's a need for teachers at all.
Mm.
And so I'm just going to run through the train model as to how teachers can use it to train children, to develop children, to make the zeal even greater than it is now. Because the truth about it is that even for teachers and children learning and all of that, there's a decline because more and more teachers are losing the value that is attached to changing the lives of children. And when we lose that, we're not really going to get anywhere, if you see what I mean. So, what's the training all about? The T stands for train. Oh no, the train model is the train model. The T stands
Yeah.
for teach, the R stands for raise, the A stands for account, the I stands for influence, and the N stands for notice. So I'm just going to take it bit by bit. I hope that I can really rush through this and we're done in another 30 minutes, God helping us. So I like to think that every teacher is important, and there is a need for us as teachers to come to terms with what we do, to accept what we do as important, to accept what we do as valuable, to accept what we do as life-changing, to accept what we do as modeling, to accept what we do as key to a greater future, you see. So, teaching, what does teaching a child really mean? For a lot of teachers, teaching a child simply means you'll come into class, writing on the board, explaining, do your lesson plans, give homeworks, give assignment, give tests, and all of that. But teaching is a lot more than that, because to really, really teach and to help people, most especially children, to learn, there is a need to form a connection. There is a need to, and the only way, it's like going to interview for a job. The responses you give to me show to me how vested, how interested you are in, not even in the job. What would, I don't know how, I mean, I don't know what people really look for in interviews these days, but what shows to me that you're interested, and it's not in the big office you're coming to that I'm saying, it's not in the or the people you're coming to work with, it's in the cause that the company itself stands for. It's in the cause of the company. It's in the values of the company. So it's in the, what are the cause of the profession exactly? Why am I going to take you in? It's because you have some standing values that link up with what exactly you ought to be doing where it is that you are. So most times as a teacher, we are more interested in the stereotyped activities that have laced teaching, that we are not concerned about the cause of teaching. We're concerned about the effects that teaching should have on children. We want to, because to teach, the people we ought to be interested in the most, to please the most, are the children. But we have shifted our focus to school directors, supervisors. These are the people who are working hard all the time to please, rather than working hard to ensure that our children are getting the best from education. We're busy serving supervisors. Oh, is your lesson plan ready? Yes, my lesson plan is ready. Yeah. So we are doing the lesson plans and all that it entails to the taste of supervisors, to the taste of if the grammar is all right, all of those things. While those things are important, it is more important that a lesson fulfills the essential needs of the children that we are going to teach. So more than actually looking to be accepted by the authorities, by our supervisor as the best teacher, we should also look to be accepted by our children, by the children we're looking to teach, because that's the only way. If children sense whether you care or you do not care, for you to actually reach a child with the intention of teaching a child, you would have to have shown the child that there is something in them that you want to touch. But most times, this isn't what we see. So a lot of times, there's a disconnect between teachers and children because we're not teaching right. So I usually say, sometimes when I talk to teachers, I usually say that, you see, we need to think beyond the lesson plan. You need to excuse me for a bit. There's a noise distraction that I need to address.
All right. Please, this class is not just for teachers. As much as she's trying to streamline it to teachers, but anytime she mentions teachers, like my ear, I hear other things. I hear parents as well. I hear aunties and uncles. I hear everybody involved in raising a child. So when she's talking about lessons or reaching a child or showing that you care about a child, if you're a parent, you need to show that you care about your child, and everything that has to do with that child should be your focus. It's not about pleasing the society or raising your child according to the standards of the society. It's about actually looking at your child and showing that your child actually has something, in them that you want to touch, like she said. Thank you.
Yeah,
Miss
so
Auntie.
okay, so I know that I'm focusing a lot with the teacher aspect, and also like for parents to pick one or two things. So as I go on, I mean, I just share it bit by bit, so it's well rounded and well circulated. So when I talk to teachers, sometimes I'm saying that in the lesson that you're structuring, right? If the children that you're teaching are not the center of the lesson that you're planning, right? There's a problem already. So because if as a teacher I'm planning lessons and I want to write out learning objectives, take for instance, right? Because whatever you want to teach a child, you should have objectives as to why you're teaching the children. I don't just want to see you say at the end of the lesson they should be able to define money.
Mm,
No, I mean, of course. Oh, well, they should be able to define money, but there should be the details of reality in what you're teaching. Take, for instance, I want to look at something really more practical as to how I'm relating the idea of money with the children in my class. Okay, so money. How is money? Okay, one of the things that these children would do sometimes, money, oh, maybe try to save, maybe there's a piggy bank, maybe there's something. These are the realities that I'm supposed to put in my learning objectives. These are the reality that I'm supposed to put in the learning objectives. Oh, at the end of the lesson, children should have I hope that children will be able to have better interaction with money. How they're handling money, what they're using money to do. So it's really not me coming to what is money, importance of money.
mm,
A lot of children already know the meaning. A lot of children
yes. Mhm.
already know what money is being used to do. These lessons are really sometimes to reiterate what's like what usually happens. What makes the lesson personal is to bring in the reality of children. What makes a lesson practical is to see the children in my class understand what they like to do. Oh, so in my class, maybe the children, when they talk about money, is because they're probably buying this and buying that. Are you going to use that medium? Are you going to use that class to create a mock shop or something to make your children share their experiences with what money is? Maybe they've had arguments in recent times before, or about money, or they talk about bank, or they talk about. Are you going to bring in those realities? Are you going to try to show, for instance, what's done with a bank, what money does? The reality of children? Sometimes children understand how people go to parties and they are sprayed money.
Mm,
Are we talking about? Are we going to talk about that also as abuse of money? What we should be using money to do, this and that. But bringing the reality of children into your classroom space is the only way that lessons can become personal.
mm,
In teaching children, it's not really about reading definitions. Sometimes we're teaching and we want them to cram the definition, that's the only thing they'll ever get out of the class. We don't make
mm,
them sit down after the class so that they are able to think about just one thing that keeps them glued to that knowledge, something that will make them remember what it is that you're saying repeatedly. So teaching goes beyond us just wanting to cover syllabus. A lot of times, oh, I finished what's on your. It's important that we cover the syllabus, but it's more important because we're doing injustice to our children if what we're chasing is covering the syllabus without making any direct impact. The things that will be left with our children are the things that they could relate the most with. Right. Because at the end of the day, all of these definitions sometimes will not even matter. When they come face to, when they're older and they come face to face with interviews, what will matter are the things that they could relate with, are the things that it touched them and they're using it to define what it is. The reason why children have to cram and do all of that because they don't understand. They don't even know what we're doing. So most times they just have to keep up. And so because they also in turn want to please the teacher by getting all the marks, they just find a way to dump it. When the exams are over, it's like the child didn't even go to school at all. Do you see? So there's a need for us to teach children in such a way that knowledge is lasting. We're not teaching children just because it suits a certain people, just because we want to get paid, just because, oh, I must finish this lesson plan and I must do this, I must do that. But we're actually teaching because we have the future in mind, because I want my children to really learn, because I want my children to know, I want my children to be better for it. And that's the same thing with parents. Why are you teaching? Because we teach for acceptance. We go, if this is not a deliberate thing we do every time, and then we want to go out and we're saying, when you get there, sit like this, hold your hand like this. When we get there, just take a book
and
and
give you food, don't collect.
Just take a book and be reading, okay? When you get there, don't say this. When you get, that's not the lifestyle. So children are not being taught. Children are not being taught to live. Children are taught to pretend. Children are taught to pretend like they know. Children are taught to pretend like they're good. So they're not actually good, right? They're pretending to. Children are taught to pretend like they have good manners. If we spend the time actually teaching the children, we will not have problems when people are coming in for us to start saying, oh, stand up and greet. Wake up and greet. Because it's a pattern already. Because it's something we do all the time, but sometimes we forget. We forget to teach. So times when things happen, would have to now start, okay, do this. This is what you should do. This is what you should do. When people, supervisors are coming into school to come and check the classroom, okay, pick up the pieces of papers, do this. Children should naturally know every time. You don't leave pieces of papers around you. This should be a constant practice. If it were a constant practice, and that's how we test our teaching. Is it staying? Are we reminding all the time? Is it sticking? Like, I don't have to remind you tomorrow. I don't have to have you pretend. If at home, these are the things, the rules, we all know the rules. Okay, these are the rules. You know what you're supposed to do at this time. Know what you're supposed to do at this time. This is where we're at. Oh, when visitors come in, when we're going out, we won't be giving impromptu teaching every day of the child's life because we're trying to make them meet up. So what that means is that eventually children are nothing is staying with our children. They only go on pretending that they're good. They go on pretending that they're nice when they aren't, because that's a pattern. So children will visitors come here, pack all the do the beds well, carry the throw pillows, put it here, this, because they don't know when. It's okay sometimes to have those times when everything just falls off. But it's okay also for children to understand that, okay, this is not the norm. You can't just have everywhere disorganized all the time.
Mm-hmm.
and then you keep playing. So we need to understand, what am I teaching? How I tell some teachers when I say, even your rhymes must have a moral lesson.
Mm.
Times when teachers have come to me and said, this rhyme does not have a moral lesson. And I said, who have? You just haven't searched it enough. Even as little, so that even the little ones you teach are already picking the knowledge they need as they go on living. No lesson is just for play. No lesson is just for to prepare for exams. Every
Mm.
lesson needs a lifelong knowledge for the reality of your child, so that when they remember it, they are prompted to do something good at every point in time. So
Mm.
it's a bit spider when out the water sprout down came. I'm telling you not to give up. The rain will come sometimes and stop your fun. The rain will come sometimes and maybe make you all wet and muddy and stuff. But the sun is going to come out and you have to come out again. As
Mm.
long as the sun isn't tired of coming out, you have to get up and come out. So you keep trying, you keep going. Bounced you once doesn't mean it's going to bounce you forever.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to understand there's something that every rhyme is saying to your child. And you have to get to the point where you're excited to teach your children, not because you are not because you're expecting that, somebody may come and check me in the class now, or no. You're doing it because you understand what you're teaching will do in the life of your child. You're
Mm.
because you understand where this is going to lead your child to. So if I'm teaching my children rhymes, I'm teaching them not because the melody is good. My children my children will love the rhymes. My children will love to hear it. My children will love to dance around the rhyme. But more often than not, there is a lesson for your child. There is
Mm.
something that should keep your child going. There's something that you don't think that everything your child is doing is just for play. Get your lesson
Mm.
and bring reality into the life of your child. So I always
Mm.
challenge teachers and I say, no, there is a lesson in it. So when teachers plan lesson for me, what's the moral?
Mm.
Why? Why are you teaching it? Beyond preparing your child for the exam and having them cram the points you've written down, what's the personal moral that your child is going to take out of this lesson? What's
Mm.
the reality that your child will sit down and look to and say, oh wow, this was great? And that's where we must come from. That's the place where we must come from. If I'm teaching a family, it's not enough to say, hey, family, mother and father, teacher and brother, and sister.
Mm.
It's not
Mm.
enough,
Mm.
because I understand the children in my class. I know Toyosi lost a dad some years back and she doesn't have a. I know
Mm.
the mother and father just got divorced. So pretty much the boy doesn't know where he is. So you cannot come to class and define a family that excludes some of your children out of your.
Mm. Mm.
You need to, because I know the children in my class. That's why I'll be privileged enough to ensure that I'm including them. The fact that Tobe and his mom lives alone, does it make them less of a family?
Mm.
No. And so, of course, I'm going to have to teach about nuclear and extended family, but I'm also going to have to tell my children that in life, you're going to meet with people from different types of families. You are going
Mm.
to meet someone who's living with a mom and dad that aren't theirs, because the mother abandoned him and he didn't have any parents and someone had to pick him up the street. Does it make him less? So when a teacher comes into the class to take a lesson like family, and their other children in the class who don't fit into the family that that person is describing, for the rest of those children, like, they will only cram what nuclear and extended families, but they were never truly touched by that lesson. And that lesson doesn't make any more difference, because what they did was just to learn to pass. So what the lesson does further is to demoralize the children, because they think that they will never fit in. And sometimes home and say, Mom, I want to change my school. Why? Because they feel that there's a dysfunction already in them, and that dysfunction is not welcome where they are. Sometimes it's bullied. Sometimes it's the style of teaching that the child cannot. A child's mental ability is not able to receive information that is different from his reality. So they don't learn. They're not, it's coming in, but it's not dropping. So children will just sit in class, and then they just be there, and then afterwards they say, oh, okay, let's just go on and cram this later and put down in the exam.
Yeah. Do you understand? Yes, I understand.
They can understand it. Their reality is not in view. You see, and that's why some children as well, because some children, when you begin to talk about what I need, what you don't need, or you talk about people traveling, and you talk about maybe vacation and places, you have to understand that not all your children will travel out for vacation. So after all such places in Nigeria that's good for traveling, and you make it as glamorous as you would a place outside the country. Why? Because the children you're teaching need to come to a place where they know that they belong in your class. Learning. When children begin to distrust your learning, there's nothing you can tell them that will make them pass. So these are the issues. What am I teaching? Why am I teaching? Is my teaching staying? Is it just for a moment time? Is it just to prepare for an audience? So we wonder why children are not learning. It's because we're teaching them to pretend. We don't want to go through the pains of really teaching a child to learn. So we leave it for the impromptu moments. When they say, the day when it happens, I'll tell you what to do. Oh, don't worry, we'll prepare later when it's almost time. So children learn never to prepare in advance. They just prepare on the spot. And preparation is not enough. So children think that they are failures because adults are not willing to take the pain to prepare them in advance. A child has test and exam. They bring their books home regularly just to be preparing for the test and exams. But we, the adults, push the time of revision and reading. Don't worry, when your exam is near, you start reading. And that's exactly how life plays out. We are not willing to take the time, the effort to teach the children properly. So on our watch, on our own very watch, our children are not learning. We would rather not be bothered with the work that it entails as teachers. So, I'll just rush. The teaching is what's most important, because every other thing comes into it. So I'll just rush through the other one. And it's raising, the second one, like I said, is raise children right. Why do we need to teach and then raise children? Because there's the place of teaching and there's the place of raising something. There's a place of wanting. If I teach someone to do something, there's a place of me wanting that person to come up to the level where my teaching ought to take them to. The need for me to understand, and that cannot happen if I do not know the value of my teaching. That's why it's important to take your learning objective beyond what you went to dub on the internet, to take your learning objective to the face level of the children you're teaching, so that you know where you want to raise them to. So if you're teaching, because one single topic is different for every child. So if I'm teaching a particular topic, let's say family, and I have all my children, I know them, I know the kind of families they're coming from. For Shola, I may want him that after the lesson, he's closer to his sister because I've noticed that they have sibling rivalry. So I may want him to come to the level where he speaks more with his family, because oftentimes he just always says that nobody wants to talk to him, nobody likes him. You have to understand your children enough to be able to help them get the best of the lessons that you're teaching. That will only come from a place of desiring to raise and nurture them in the light of the knowledge that you're trying to pass. And the reason why it is hard to raise our children, both as teachers, both as parents, is because we are hypocritical. We're pretty very hypocritical, you know. We're not the examples of what we want our children to be.
Right.
You know, while imitating us may not be the answer to everything, it's still a good thing to be the example. Because imitating us, you know, when we say, when we tell people that we are good examples, the children should follow our own example. I can only follow the example of a person to the extent to which I remember the person. Teacher would only follow your example, to the extent to which they remember you. So do we think that it's every time in life that things happen to our children that will come up in their memory? No, because sometimes they don't know. So it is what is inside of them that will come out in the most present times. So while saying that I'm a good example is great, the teaching, the nurturing is also required for a child to carry the values. So it's so that it's not just because you are there and that's what you will do. That's why I'm doing it. If you were not to be there, I've got the values inside of me and I will still not do otherwise. That's why some children, when they get to school and then their teachers are telling their parents, he's like this, he's doing this. Oh no, he doesn't do like that at all. He is so calm, he's so... Because only as far as your eyes can see. So your teaching is just face level. It's not reaching the heart of your child. It's not reaching the depths of your child's soul. So they would only do it as far as they can see you. And most times the crisis we have in life, hardly do we ever remember. When we need to take decisions sometimes, we only check, is it good for me? Is it satisfying in my heart? And so once the value of the child is already messed up with, his choice may be poor. Almost, you know. And that's why to raise our children, to nurture our children, we need to have an image in mind. We need to have something looking at, a vision. And this is not about saying you must be what I want you to be. No. The vision we're having is, what's my child like? What does he like? What doesn't he like? Who are his friends? What does he like to do? So that when we have a vision of who our children truly are, we can nurture them. We can nurture what they are, who they are, nurture their gifts into a place that we understand will move them forward into the likeness. Because nurturing a child doesn't mean the children will be like us. How doesn't mean, in fact, nurturing is raising children. It's a very tough thing to do, especially when we begin to see our own bad traits reflected through our children. As much as
Mm.
we want to deny it, we need to come to a place of acceptance. These are things that I used to do. I need to find a way to correct it. We can't be in denial. We can't see our flaws in our children and say, where did you get this from? What rubbish is it? No. We need to come to a place of acceptance that, oh, wow. No, this doesn't look good. No. I know where this is coming from. It's not going to work. We'd have to do it together. Because most times, we don't want to share our failures with our children. We don't want to share our mistakes. And that's the mistake we make. We don't want
Mm.
to share what we didn't do right, we want to present ourselves as the perfect parents that we're not, and that won't help the children, because they are leveling up to a standard of perfection that almost feels that they can't get it wrong. So even when something is wrong, they can't open up to us.
Mm.
And that's a problem. That's a cycle that
Mm.
will forever reduce the kind of relationship that we ought to have with our children. So
Right.
raising our children has to do with the relationship building. What relationship are we building with our children? How do I want my relationship to be with? Yes, we will have our rules, but how are we going to build a relationship that sustains the lifetime of my child? That's able to keep my child coming back to me for
Mm.
advice, for counsel, for direction. But we lose that almost all the time because we throw ourselves in the faces of our children. And
Mm.
and for teachers, parents, in nurturing, we're like, it's almost like we're afraid of our children, afraid to correct them. Because it's almost like, sometimes when teachers like a child, you don't want to see them angry. You don't want to.
Mm. Mm.
And then for parents too, you want to see your child almost happy all the time. What sort of what sort of tough that?
Yeah.
Because they are going to grow older and they would understand that I cannot be laughing all the time. I have to get serious at some point. Someone is going to get me angry at some point, and I'm going to have to deal with it. So sometimes, because we don't want to see them angry, we're doing everything, trying the hardest not to see them. Hey, what's wrong with you? Okay, is it this one that's is it this one that's you? Is it that we lose nurturing them?
Mm.
It's okay for children to get upset. It's okay for children not to have everything that they want.
Mm.
It's okay for children to be said no to. It's okay for children to get hurt. How we nurture them, how we raise them, is the way that we are able to teach them how to manage these situations, how to manage what they feel, how to manage when they're hurt, how to manage when they don't get what they want, because they will get out there. They will get out to places where you cannot be entitled. It's not
Mm-hmm.
yours. They'll get to places like that. We shouldn't be afraid to train our children, afraid to speak to our children. Many people have allowed that to happen. So even while their children are adults, they can't talk to them,
Mm.
correct them, because I don't want you to be upset. I don't what?
Mm.
That's how we raise spoiled children, and that's how teachers show favoritism, because the mother gifts me a lot, because the mother is my friend. Yeah, you okay? Sit down there. They tell you that she has done something wrong. Don't worry, just sit here. I'll handle her. Then people go and you just, why do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, everything is okay. No, everything is not okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Not okay. Children may be sad when we correct them or punish them, but they'll be better for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we shouldn't think that by not correcting our children, we're gaining their friendship. No. We're further destroying a relationship that the future could have held for us. And then
Yes.
there's influence. How are we influencing our children? Are we the voice as a teacher, as a parent? Are we the voice they'll hear first? Are we that influence strong in them? Or whenever they are talking about things, they say, oh, it's the way auntie so does it. It's the way we are not first to come to mind when they're talking about good things. When they're talking, because and the problem is that both for parents, both for teachers, we like to outsource our responsibility. Not outsource, because whoever gets the responsibility is the person who gets the influence. But if I give my if my child is supposed to do something, and in that time, maybe the lesson we're supposed to get together, maybe in life, the life lesson we're supposed to get together was to bond together on a particular project, we miss that influence when we give somebody else to do together with our child, when we could have. So gradually, there are many people who are becoming influences for our children because we are daily giving out our own responsibility per time, because it is what we give to our children that determines their influence. Whatever it is that we're giving them, whoever it is that we're keeping them with, these are the things that determines what influences our children. There's the environment, their friends, there a lot of things can influence our children more than us. A lot of things can have the attention of our children more than us. And our influence is what is supposed to take the front seat, And as teachers, as parents, we can't rely on the externals to be the influence of our children. We need to be the influence. We need to be the voice. We need to come in unity. Come in unity to train our children properly. I think I missed the A, jumping to I, and count. Be accountable. Make your children accountable. Take responsibility, right? It's wrong. It is wrong. You cannot. It's not possible that you believe so strongly that if you make your children accountable, then you've lost them. The time you will actually really lose your children is when they realize that you didn't make them accountable when you ought to have made them accountable.
That's right.
So there are some parents who say, oh, I see, there's something. I usually say that, may we not say, I want to be cool, I want to be cool, and just bring curses upon ourselves. This being cool, I'm a cool parent. You allow your child, when it's not right enough, to start bringing their boyfriends home, and they will stay in their rooms locked up. I want to be cool. Oh, my mom is so cool. Don't worry, everyone can come. You cannot come and gather in my house. Hey, I want to be cool. I want to be cool. Don't worry, I'll get everything for you people. You people. No. Let them know what is right and let them know what is wrong.
Yeah.
You cannot be cool to a curse. Essential that we take in fact, we are accountable. Our children are accountable. Don't say I'm there. Don't, because you want the school to see you as the cool parent. You do what? Hey, you turn up however you feel like, dress anyhow. Get your children to dress that way too. Bring everything, even when it is necessary and not necessary. We need to draw the line. Coolness is not foolishness. Coolness is not just allowing anything. If their children are not supposed to wear it, don't let them wear it. If your children are not supposed to take it, don't let them take it. Because there will be a time when your children, when you will sit down and be waiting, either for your children to bring you cool gifts or for them to bring you curses. You want to choose now. Either your children will blame you for being a supposedly cool parent. Right?
Mm.
And the last one is the notice. All our children deserve to be noticed. We can't rub
Mm.
people or play favoritism and pick one over another. And there's a need for, we don't know that there are many messages that children are trying to pass each day. And it's the one who
Mm.
them that they will go to. You know, I always say this. I say getting access does not mean acceptance. You are the one
Mm.
who can truly help your children to feel accepted. Because take for instance, you don't notice your child, they need help with something, and somebody gives them access to his or her home or their circle where they do wrong things, where they're not doing the right things. You understand? They grant them access into that place, and your child learns all sort and whatever it is. It's possible that they only granted him access because of,
Mm.
oh, he was feeling lonely, or they need him. They need him there to be doing some things for them. Not because they
Mm.
accept him, not because they want to love him. People who will love your children will not lure them into evil. They will not lure them into what is wrong. So your children can go out and get access, and they still will never feel accepted.
Yeah.
It is you the parent, you the teacher, that can help your children feel like a part of something, that can help your children feel accepted, feel closely knitted to something. But when we don't notice them, notice the
Mm.
sin, notice the wrong, pay attention, pay attention. We miss
Mm.
out on the details. I really love to go on, but I know we're pressed for time, and I know that sometime we can catch up on this again. But it is important. Teachers, parents, we have work to do. You are not at a disadvantage being a teacher. You are not at a disadvantage having the lives of children wrapped in your hands. What will your children, the children who have passed through you, what will they remember you for? What are
Mm.
you teaching them? Are you just teaching, just let me get my pay at the end of the? This is not that kind of job. If you're not making a difference in the life of a child, please get up and go. Teaching is not for the weak. It's not for
Mm.
those who require more time on their hands. It's not for those who are out of job and don't know what else to do.
Mm.
You're required to shape a life.
Mhm.
See,
Mhm.
parenting, you once a woman gets pregnant, except you want to abort, which is wrong on all sides, right? Except there's something medical and stuff, but you just decide, I don't want this baby, I want to abort. That's wrong. But that's story for another time. But parenting like that, sometimes you may not even get a chance to prepare. You may not get a chance to say, am I ready to have a child in my hands? But
Mm.
teaching, you decide. You get up
Mm.
and say you want to become a teacher. You get up
Mm.
and say you want to help people have raise good children. You get up one day and you want to say, I want children to be the best. You have a voice. You get up and you make that decision. You make that decision to want to relieve parents of some of their worries. You make that decision to say you want to help society raise the best children. You have a choice. And by God, you better make the choice worth the while.
Mm.
Because if you make the choice and you end up not producing children who will bless you for the impact you made, children who will bless their parents for making their paths cross with you, children who will bless school directors for making their paths cross with you, you might as well just stop making the choice of being a teacher. Because today, you will count the number of children that have gone through you. Wonder what difference that ever made to the society. Answer isn't positive. You would realize that the choice you made just because you were out of a job, just because you needed something to rub your hands, have cost you almost an entire life of making no difference at all. And that's what teachers are called to. Our lives, everything we want to do is to ensure that every child that passes through us gets a piece of us that is almost possible to forget, and that piece of us is able to take them through the most difficult times, especially when they need to make choices. I just believe that we come to realize how important the work that we have on our hands is, and how more than ever now there's a need for us all to be educated. Even the man on the street who hasn't gone to a school can be educated as to what right is and what wrong is. Education is not just about numeracy, literacy, and science. Education, to be truly educated, is to know good and do it. And that's because the children we once raised, some of them are criminals we have now. So what are we going to do about it? Thank you all so much.
Wow. No, I told you guys that this was a master class. Oh my God. I told you this was a master class. Thank you so much. That was so good. That was such a great way to end. I mean, education is it's not just about passing knowledge. It's letting children know what is good, and then they now do what is good. I think that the result of education really is the fact that these children choose to do good because they've been taught what good is, really. So they know what to do. They know what to do, even when you are not there. They know the kind of decisions they should make, even when you're not there as a teacher, even when you're not there as a parent. They know what to do. And that is so beautiful. And just like the Bible says, it says, train up your child in the way they should go. And when they are older, they will not depart from it. So when they are older, that is when you know the results really of what you have done. When they are older, when they are alone, when no one is there watching them.
You're right.
Wow, this was so good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know that, Instagram wanted to spoil our parole, but it did not work. It did not work. It did not work. Thank you all so much. I want to take just one question, if there is any, just one question. And if you have more questions, send it to me in the community. And we're going to, send your questions to her. If you've not registered for the Skill Teacher Academy, the Skill Teacher Academy's waitlist is out, bit.ly/TSTA waitlist, TSTA waitlist, TSTA all in caps, and waitlist in small letters or lowercase. Please register for the Skill Teacher Academy. It's going to blow your mind. If you're an educator, ah, my God! Even my team, we put the curriculum together, and it was boom. It is not. It was. It is. So register for the wait. If you have an educator in your space, please send it to them for them to register. They need these things. It's not what you've seen. It's not the usual. Trust me. It's not the usual. Trust me. When I say it, I mean it. Do we have any questions? This was so good. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a lot to unpack. It's really a lot to unpack. It's really, everybody, if you want to do cool teacher, there's no cool. If you want to be cool, you can be cool, but there's the most important part. Let's not forget that one. It's not about being cool.
Just that, cool is great. It's just that
cool is good. I love being a cool teacher, but it's
school means. So that's what's defining what,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Director Tolu, for posting that out.
Yeah.
Please share. The flyer is also on my page. The flyer is on the Fresh Look Africa's page as well. You can get it out and just share it. Does anybody have any question? I want to let our guest speaker go. It's been a long time. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? If you don't have any questions, just type none. Immediately I see one none, I'll tell her to go. And then if you have any other questions, oh, I think someone sent something in the community hub. Yes. So someone said, so they said if the children you're teaching are not the center of your planning, there's a problem, right? So someone responded, said, then how do we fix that? Because in my school, they place you in any class to deliver. If the children you're teaching are not the center of your planning. So I think the person saw that statement because they sent like excerpts of what you were saying to the community. And the person said, so how do we fix that? How do we fix the fact that children are not the center of teaching? Okay, the person needs to watch the Instagram live anyway. The person will get an answer to that.
I do think that what the person is saying is, if the children you're teaching are not the center of your planning, you, and that's what I said, that you may not get the children
There's a problem, yeah.
right. So she's saying that in her school they just fix them up in any class,
In
right?
any class to
So
deliver, yeah.
what she's trying to say is she sometimes may not have had prior relationship with the children she's supposed to teach. So how is she supposed to get through to them if she does? So I mean, even if you were a teacher of some children that you already know, there's
Mm,
a, there's a there's a first time when you get there and you don't know them at all, right? So it's not, that's why I was saying that it's not in your lesson planning, right? It's not
mm,
right. It's actually in the children you're going to. So you have to have children in mind. It doesn't have to be the children you've known. You have to
mm,
think of how this child is thinking, who you need to have children in mind when you actually plan your lesson. That
mm-hmm.
way, uh, don't have don't have your director in mind that what I'm writing. She said we should write it. She said no. Have children in mind. Let it flow, so that when you eventually get to go and teach a child, and then there's always the place of when you start. There are the different techniques when you used to teach, and particular one that you have to come from the place of the known, right? The unknown
So,
to the known. And when you need to ask the children, oh, what do you know about this? Especially sometimes when you're doing your prior knowledge, you want to
yeah.
ask children some questions. You want to, and these are ways to warm up to children, right? Even from
Mm-hmm.
you can even know the where your lesson is going through. How are you, what step, how are you going to explain to the children, what are you bringing in, right? What are your practical
Mm-hmm.
assessment tactics? Oh, this is how I'm going to teach these children. This is what this is the story I'm starting with. This is the question I'm starting with. That way you're able to interact properly with the children. What's the prior knowledge of that lesson? I know that there was a time when I used to mark some lessons, and when they are doing prior knowledge, most times, well, I don't know, maybe that's what's acceptable or whatever, but I just feel like if you're asking for prior knowledge, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
asking what they learned in the last class. I'm asking, what's a prior knowledge of this topic? What would a child have already known about this
No.
that I can
Yeah.
pick from to
Mm.
to present? And that's the way you're bringing your child into the lesson. I'm thinking
Right. Mm.
children have already known. How can I come to them? What are the children around me that I've seen before? How does this relate? How does this help? Channel all those things together. It doesn't matter that it's the first time that you're teaching a set of children. If children were in your mind when you planned your lesson, you
Listen.
reach the children that you're about to teach.
Mm. That's so good. Very, very important. Wow, 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 wow. Excited. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you so much. Guys, please let's say thank you to our guest
Thank
speaker for today. Please say thank you, thank you, thank you. We're super grateful. Thank you. The Fresh Look Africa says thank you. We
you.
appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to let you go. I'll see you in your DMs.
No,
Thank you so much. Guys, this was such a
bye.
great place to be. Bye. Thank you. For those that stayed with us from the beginning, thank you so much. If you're not following the Fresh Look Africa, please follow us. Follow ITeach Network. I mean, there are a lot of resources that she has for children. Her YouTube channel is there as well. You can go there. They have videos there for children as well. She has material. She's an instructional designer. So she has great materials for children. So follow her on ITeach Network. ITeach Network. It is you. Don't worry. When you get there, you come and meet me and give me your testimony. All right. Please go there. Please visit the Fresh Look Africa. Follow us. The Skill Teacher Academy is here again. I say it again. Please join the wait list, and I'll see you guys in the community, and I'll see you in the Skill Teacher Academy as well from next month. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Good night. Have a lovely night's rest. TFLA team, we have to go now because I need to see you guys. Bye. Thank you, sis.